Guys, welcome back to HPL. We're about to get into our second match of the day, Kranich versus Powder. Now, Kranich is looking to pick up a win after taking a loss early yesterday, so a little bit of redemption here in this match.
Yeah, redemption is definitely something he, 100% wants this match. Going down 0-2 in the first week, not the situation you want to be in. These guys will be playing maximum 2 matches a week, I believe, given the way that the schedules are going to work out. But yeah, just like you said, game 1 about to get under the way. They can play any slew of strategies. Remember, here at the HPL format, they can play anything they want. There are no restrictions placed on them. They can change their deck, their class, any way they want to between games.
Yeah, we saw Kranich take full advantage of that yesterday. 5 different heroes in 5 games. I kind of expect something similar out of him today. I don't think we're going to see him stick to one class, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. He's going to be all over the place and, kind of disrupt his opponent's strategy, and that's what I think he's going to have to do to have a key here. And here we go, game 1. Kranich versus Powder.
Yeah, get out there on Twitter, use that hashtag HPL, let everyone know who you're supporting, who you think is going to win. Kranich has queued up Shaman again here in game 1. I wonder if this is the same build from yesterday, or if he went back to the drawing board and tinkered with it a little bit.
So the 2007 Nat Pagel deck, as we mentioned yesterday?
Yeah, Nat Pagel was in his build yesterday. It was a reincarnate Shaman as well. So Sylvanas, obviously in there along with that with reincarnate. Hence the name Reincarnate Shaman.
Oh, it looks like Mech Shaman, actually.
Yeah, so he did kind of go back to the drawing board here, it looks like. And no surprise to see Grim Patron Warrior out of Powder. Again, we talked about he likes to play powerful strategies, and when you think power strategies right now, this has got to be the one that comes to mind.
Yeah, this is actually probably what a lot of people consider the best deck in the boogeyman of ranked play right now. And you know what? We're seeing another Fel Reaver in Kranich's deck here. If anybody saw the matches yesterday, or you saw the recap earlier today, you saw a turn where Kranich played a Fel Reaver and then lost his entire deck the next turn.
Yeah, Dog able to cast a ton of spells.
It was this exact matchup as well.
Yeah, it was this exact matchup. He was able to cast a ton of spells, had 2 Armor Smiths on the board, put himself way out of range of the Fel Reaver being able to be lethal damage. But in this game, I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case. Shield block, though, in Powder's deck, this is something that we don't always see in Grim Patron Warrior. I wonder if this means that there's shield slams in here as well.
Yeah, I was just looking at that, and I kind of pointed it out. We were about to talk about this. It's interesting to see a shield block in Powder's deck, not necessarily an everyday card in the Grim Patron deck.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little bit peculiar. I gotta believe there's gonna be shield slam in here if he's got a copy of shield block.
Yeah, maybe he kind of mashed the decks together, has a kind of a brew version of Grim Patron, like a different version that he's trying out, and maybe he's found a build that utilizes shield block well.
This could also be a nod to the fact that Kranich has such a wide range of strategies that he feels like he needs to be able to utilize stuff a bit more. But kind of going back to what's happening in this game, Anoyatron has effectively neutralized this Fiery War Axe. And that's a really big talking point for Mech Shaman. They need to get something on the board and kind of get the ball rolling here. So very likely next turn, I think, to see Power Mace from Kranich, almost, unless he draws something. I'm sorry, he's got a Fire Guard Destroyer in his hand. I thought that was a Fire Elemental. So scratch that. Very likely to play Fire Elemental next turn. I'm sorry, the Fire Guard Destroyer next turn. Even I keep calling it Fire Elemental, even after I just acknowledged it. But plenty of plays here left for Powder to make sure he can stabilize his life total and get to a winning position.
Yeah, I think Kranich would much rather draw a mech this turn than anything else. And hey, look, you were just fortuitous.
Yeah, I just knew he was going to draw Fire Elemental. That's why I kept saying it.
Admirable knows all.
So Fire Guard Destroyer is going to come down. That does overload him from 1, so he's not going to be able to play Fel Reaver next turn, even if he wants to. Only 1 point of damage, and he gets the full Monty off of that Fire Guard Destroyer. 7-6 on that. But there is that shield slam we just talked about. Yeah,
we just talked about that, but I just want to point out that he made a 7-6 here, and that's the only form of that card I know of, because every time I play against it, it's always a 7-6. I didn't know it could actually be smaller than a 7-6.
Yeah, I didn't know that either, because every time I play it, they always big game hunter it. So definitely a problem I've been having with it. Pretty excellent hand here, though. Lots of ways to keep everything in check. This Inner Rage is going to give. This is actually really smart here. It's going to give him another armor from this. That's going to run into the Cogmaster, get him a second armor here. That's the full 7. I'm sorry, just the first armor was enough, but the fact that he's getting that extra armor here, he's also got a threat on board, and now he's taking advantage of the mana utilization across the board by getting the first threat on the board. So Totem's in check right now, and so Kranich feels like he wants to answer what's happening.
Yeah, and you see Powder understanding his matchup here. He's taking his time, he's controlling the board, and just digging through his deck, trying to find his big combo pieces. He already has a couple of them in his hand. He's got a Cruel Taskmaster, he's got a Battle Rage, and now he has just added a Frothing attacking Berserker. So he's set up to have a pretty big turn 6, 7, or 8 if he makes some of the right draws here.
Yeah, not a lot of action in his hand, though. Not really, something like Loot Hoarder or Gnomish Inventor may have been something he wanted to draw, but I have to believe that if Shield Blocks and Shield Slams are in here, Gnomish Inventor is probably the card that got cut to make up for that slot where Shield Block is.
Yeah, he's also got a Slam in it, and sometimes you don't see that card, sometimes you do. It's one of those cards you see that goes in and out of the deck sometimes. So he does have some draw power put in the deck that if he replaced the Gnomish Inventor, he has another card that can draw cards. So still understanding that he needs to get through his deck as much as possible and find the cards he needs for his combos.
Yeah. I mean, this is like, he's actually going to swing this Despite. And I think the reason he's doing this is because he wants to give him a spot where he can answer something like Fire Elemental very efficiently and make sure it's not a big deal. Doomhammer gets picked up for Kranich. And so if he's looking for a turn where he can start pushing for some damage, I got to believe that it's nearing, and we're kind of hitting that spot right now.
Yeah, we may see him get another Fel Reaver into play here. But
yeah,
no, he's actually going to go with a Fire Elemental here.
I like the Fire Elemental here, even though it's checked by this Despite, because this overall is going to be 9 points of damage, and you pull that Despite off the board, but that is the exact draw that Powder was looking for. Grim Patron coupled with that Cruel Taskmaster, and after that, the Despite activation, going to give him 4 copies of Grim Patron on the board and a 2/1 minion to boot.
We're about to see an almost full board from nothing from Powder. He started this turn with 0 minions in play, and let's see how many he's going to have when it's over.
Yeah, everyone's going to get in here indeed.
Hey, where's the full everyone get in here? I know you can do it.
Saving my voice,
Saving
maybe a little
right.
bit later in the in these matches as we get to it. So big board full now for Powder, and this is spelling disaster for Kranich. I mean, this is exactly why this deck is so powerful, because you have to come equipped to be able to deal AoE damage right now if you're playing against this style of build. And he doesn't have that in his hand. I wonder if there's actually even something like Lightning Storm in here. And Powder, free to use his life total as he sees fit. We saw him take 6 blowback there to take care of that Fire Elemental. He's not worried about that because he's not under any pressure. So the fact that he can leverage his life total as a resource is another real reason why he's getting an edge in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to believe there is Lightning Storm somewhere in Kranich's deck. Otherwise, this game's going to be over very, very quickly, especially if he doesn't draw it. But this has to be having some bad memories coming up for Kranich here. He's got to be having a little bit of a flashback to yesterday from these spots. And it's going to be interesting to see how he takes it for the rest of this match if he does, in fact, lose this game. I know it sounds like I'm already giving the win to Powder. This game isn't over yet, but Kranich is in a pretty bad spot here and needs to find a way out of here.
Yeah, this is close to spelling disaster at this point. Just not gonna get the Death Rattle in the Power Mace, which is something that's very critical, of course, to a Mech Shaman deck. And there's an Armor Smith pickup, so again, Powder gonna be able to pad that life total. He'll continue to leverage that as a resource should he draw some more weapons. But in the meantime, Powder's going to pick up some cards in this Battle Rage and look to find a way to efficiently deal with what's happening on the board.
And he picks up a Warsong Commander. That card is always very, very dangerous.
Not only that, but he gets a Whirlwind and an Execute. This damage is going to come crashing in this turn.
Yeah, he's not going to have enough mana to do the full Frost Berserker go crazy like we just saw in the last match. We're not going to see 14 out of this Frost Berserker this turn like we did last game. But you know what? There's a chance for some pretty big turns here over the next turn or two out of Powder.
The fact that Kranich didn't Lightning Storm your board on the previous turn, I think that's sort of the go-ahead for Powder to make sure that he can do whatever he wants. So not gonna use the Whirlwind this turn. Just gonna continue to be patient. And, he's wanting to get this damage first. Make sure he's sequenced properly. The big key there is to attack with the 2/1 before it gets picked off. So the Execute, this is like 100% happening this turn. And then Kranich going to take 6 more damage on top of that. He's facing down 14 damage on the board, and one of those minions gets charged at everything. He's got to draw Lightning Storm this turn, or this is going over to Powder.
Yeah, Earth Shock's not going to do it. It looks like Powder's going to be able to win this first game. I got a feel for Kranich. Just the last 2 days in a row, he's queued up Shaman in game 1. It just hasn't worked out for him. You know what? His queue up yesterday playing Shaman game 1 was actually a really, really good queue up, because if Dog had played Druid, you would just assume it's Dog, he's going to play Druid, he probably would have won that game. It's a very good matchup for him. He queues it up game 1 again here today, and his draw is not that great, and you see him fall to the Grim Patron Warrior deck here. And as I said, he might be having a little bit of a flashback from yesterday's match.
Yeah, one of the big talking points here, I think, is the fact that he's not getting any pressure going in these games that he's choosing to play these decks. It's a different Shaman deck than the one he played yesterday, but Fiery War Axe, able to keep the Annoyatron in check, and then after that, he just his pressure was stifled. He had nothing to go with after there. So Powder free to use that Despite to take 6 more damage from a Fire Elemental meant nothing to him at that point, and then we saw Grim Patron provide a massive swing to the board, and Powder killed every single minion that Kranich played that game. And just, again, the lack of pressure is really what's spelling a disaster here in this game for Kranich. I'd like to see him be more aggressive than a Mech Shaman deck that has these higher end minions like Fire Elemental, like Fire Guard Destroyer, like Fel Reaver. Maybe something like Hunter is where he needs to go.
Yeah, we saw Kranich get a little more aggressive and play a little more of a streamlined deck in games 2, 3, and 4 yesterday, so I expect to see the same thing out of him. Now, he's down 1-0, but when we come back, he's going to be in game 2, and you know what? We're going to look to see get a win and get on the board here and try to get his first win here in HPL. You're watching Hearthstone on PvP Live.